It's my first podcast, if you haven't noticed.
All right, guys. So, welcome back to episode number 2 of Dolor Amor Podcast. With me, I have my best friend, Edmundo Garza. So,
What up?
round of applause to Edmundo Garza. All right, guys. So, yeah, we want to talk about because we've known each other. A little background information: we've known each other since freshman year of high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about this today. We've been hanging out all day today, but I was literally telling him because he went to a school called Lowell and I went to a school called Dunbar, and literally less than a mile away.
Yep.
But it's crazy how we lived so close, but we never saw each other. We
it
probably
took
did
till high school
Yeah.
for us to meet each other.
It took to high school to meet each other, and even then, we didn't even know each other until like towards the end of the high school, or towards the end of freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just crazy that you don't realize the people that are around you that are so close to where you live that can make a significant impact in your life.
Yeah.
And I say that because Mundo is one of the friends that have stuck with me and throughout, life. We've almost been 10 years since we graduated high school.
Mm-hmm. We've known each other longer, though.
Yeah.
Like,
So
it's been like, what, 11, 12?
So 2014, 2013, 2013, I would say.
13, yeah.
So about 11 years.
11 years. That's crazy.
So yeah, it's crazy to have somebody be there for almost half the amount of time that you've been alive.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it that way,
Yeah.
it's been a long time,
bro. So when we turn, is it next year or the year after that? So it's like next year-ish when we turn 26, 27.
Yeah.
We'll be in each other's lives for half our lives.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about because we were 13, pubertos fucking
14.
when we barely. Hey, can we cuss on this or no?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just like, oh shit,
I just have to put no children, not for children.
Oh,
Yeah, we're good. All right, but that being said, we're both first generation Mexican American. If you guys don't know what that means, is our parents are both from Mexico, and we are the first generation here in the United States that grew up and were born here. First generation Mexican American. We don't say, oh, we're Mexican. No, like you were born in the United States, Mexican American.
Mexican roots.
Yeah, so with Mexican roots. So with that subject, we were born in America. We were born in the United States, but we were raised with the pensamientos del rancho, de Mexico, you know.
Yep.
So what would you say life was like growing up growing up with strict parents? Because we all know, Mexican parents are strict. So what would you say life was like growing up with Mexican parents?
So I think for me, it was a little different because my mom, she got here when she was very young. I think she said she was like 12 or 14, somewhere around that age. So she herself got here as pretty much a kid too, So it was probably a little different, and she wasn't super, super strict, but she was strict because obviously, like, also being the firstborn, like, she's also learning how to be a parent. So maybe it might have been different, like in your case, for example, like maybe your parents were a little stricter than mine or different rules or whatever. But yeah, for me, I don't know. It was weird. Like, I saw my friends do stuff that I couldn't do necessarily.
Yeah.
And it was always just like, porque yo dije type of thing, Like, you'd be like, oh, why can't I go see my friends? Yeah,
That's the worst.
But then
when
it was
they
always
hit you with that one-liner, you're just like,
Yeah. Or they would just say like, yeah, like no, yeah. And you'd be like, oh, damn it. Like, now I can't even ask why.
You knew you couldn't stretch it anymore.
Because then that's when they bring out the cinto and all that shit. So you'd be like,
sí, me quieres desobedecer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it, bro.
Yeah, like I remember when I wanted to get my first job, bro, and I think I was like 16, bro. For whatever reason, me and my mom got into an argument, and it was something about money. So I was like, I'm just going to get a job. So then I ended up like applying for, I think it was Harkins. And dude, like the argument that came out from that was crazy in itself, because she was like, oh, why are you going to go get a job? Like, you're so young and blah, blah, blah. And this and that. And I was just like, dude, like, I need money to like go out, She's like, but who lets you go out? Like, you can't go out without my permission. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
So there was that. I don't know. It was just weird to get used to, But now, like, again, being the oldest, I also look at it as like, oh, like she was learning herself. So like, I see where she's coming from now. It's like, oh, it's your first kid that's going to go out into the world by themselves. So Like now with my little brother, like she's way more lenient and kind of pisses me off a little bit. But I mean, I get it because like now you know, like okay, maybe it's not that bad, or like you don't have to be super attached to that person because you already kind of lived through it. The first kid's all right, so maybe the third one's gonna be all right too, you know.
Yeah.
So what about with you?
So similar situations. So he's the oldest out of his brothers, right? I'm the youngest out of my brothers. So it's different, but in some ways it's not.
Yeah.
So with me, like growing up the youngest, definitely people say that I'm the favorite because soy el bebé, you know, and I'm like, in some ways I see it, you know. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Oh yeah, like I get treated, you know,
like a king.
Like a king, or like I get treated indifferently over my older brothers. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's not harder being the youngest, but I feel like you go through different levels of struggles because then you have somebody that they compare you to.
Yeah.
You know, you being the youngest, they compare you to your 3 older brothers. For me, I have 3 older brothers. They always compared me to my oldest brother. Like, oh, pues, tú eres muy malabrado. Tu hermano más grande es, you know, he's more respectful, this and that.
Yeah.
Or, you know, why can't you be like him? Or he doesn't, you know, do anything. Like, just stays at home. Like, he's calm and stuff. Why are you always trying to go out? And so it's like always a comparison being the youngest.
Yeah.
But I feel like that also can be categorized as the second oldest, third oldest, and whatever age you're at. But that's one of the things growing up was always being compared to my older brothers.
That's true. Yeah.
Going back to you, where you said being the oldest, you kind of were like the test dummy of your younger siblings.
Yeah.
Because then they're like, oh, pues tú no puedes hacer esto. You can't do this. You can't go out here. You can't do that. And then as your brothers grew up, they were more lenient with them.
Yeah.
Because they knew, like, oh, okay, you know, I have to be different with these guys because it wasn't fair.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like in my situation, I had somos desmadrosos todos.
Yeah.
Like all my brothers were like, we gave my mom and dad.
At one point.
Yeah, we gave my mom and dad headaches. Like, one did something, I did something, the other did something. Like, we were like crazy. But we were good kids still at the end of the day. You know, somos trabajadores. But I feel like all it took was for one of us to fuck up.
For all of us.
For all of us to get it ruined. So in high school, I'll be like, hey, can I go out to, you know, my friend's party or my friend's house? Okay, we have to be back at 9 o'clock in the morning. And at 9 o'clock in the morning is crazy.
Yeah.
9 o'clock
PM.
in the night. I'm like, fuck.
The party hasn't even started at that point.
Party doesn't start till like 10, 10:30, 11. That's early still.
Yep.
But I'm like, okay. So then I would go out, come back, and then they'd go to bed. And then I'll be like, all right. And then I hit up my friend. Hey, come scoop me up. So I literally would jump the fence, bro.
Yeah.
Jump the fence, and then so that's kind of a lesson. Like, I'm not saying parents don't let your kids have fun, because obviously there's a lot of things that go on in life, especially right now. It's even
Everybody
crazier.
getting shot.
So I'm just saying, strict parents. There's a saying, strict parents create
The sneakiest kids.
So a little food for thought on that topic. But yeah, life growing up with strict parents, it definitely I don't hate that they were strict. I actually, me being who I am right now, I'm grateful for them being strict because they taught me values that I didn't realize when I was in high school. When I was a teenager, I didn't realize the values that I was being taught.
Yeah.
They were just trying to keep me safe.
Yeah, I was about to say that shit, bro.
They were
like,
trying to keep me safe. They were trying to keep me from, you know, going in the wrong path, like my siblings. And they just wanted me to do better, you know. So I don't regret the decisions they made. Yeah. But yeah, I'm actually grateful for that, and then it made me who I am today. So. Yeah. What about you?
I also, like, I mean, looking back at it now that I'm older and like I understand the reasoning to why my mom was the way she was. Like, I get it. Like, at the end of the day, they just wanted to keep you safe, you know, because you're their baby. No matter what, even if you're 50 and they're 70 years old, you're still their baby technically, you know. So like, I understand where she was coming from now. But when I was younger, obviously I was like, oh, like my mom, like she doesn't want me to have fun. She doesn't want me to this, blah, blah, blah. But it's at the end of the day, like they also went through life before us. So like, for example, like your brother went down the wrong path. My mom's brother, one of them went down the wrong path too, you know, and like it got to the point where like he's not here, he's in Mexico. Like it got to that point, you know. So she had to grow up with that and like having to walk into the house and like keep in mind she was like 14, 15, 16 around that at like high school age, you know, walking in and seeing her older brother with a bunch of stuff he shouldn't have, you know.
Yeah.
So I understand. And then the youngest of my mom's brothers, like he didn't go down the wrong path. He was more of the quiet kid too, you know. So at the end of the day, like parents also are learning with each kid because each kid is different. Like for example, me, I was the quiet kid, the one that we would go to parties and I'd sit down on a chair and just stay there. That's it, you know. Versus my second brother, like the second oldest, when we'd get to parties, bro, gone, disappear. We'd never see him for the rest of the night. We'd see him just like running across the lard. It's the first best of the yard, and then now the third one, he's more of like, oh, I'm just at home. Yeah. You know, so every kid's different, which is also why it seems like every parent like favors the younger one more, in my opinion. So I don't know. It's just, I think when we're older, we realize why our parents were the way they were, and I think that's why how it's gonna mold us to be the way we're gonna be when we have kids.
And then that's a question that always comes up, and it's like, well, when you're a parent, you'll understand.
Yeah, and I hated that shit.
Yeah, I was like, shut up, don't tell me that. I'm like, I'm gonna be a cool ass dad. Like, I'm gonna let my kids go to all the parties. Yep. Changing the subject real quick, you were talking about how your mom was strict and stuff, and you were like, I'm gonna get a job. What was it like having a job at such a young age?
It was weird, I have to say that, because I didn't get my first job until I was a senior. I think I was a senior in high school.
Pete's?
Yeah.
Pete's was the first one?
Yeah. I think I was a senior. So after we had that like argument or whatever of me not getting a job when I was 16 because I was still too young or whatever, like my mom was just like, oh, just wait till you're almost done with high school or until after high school, you know, so you can focus on school. And I was like, okay, whatever. So then, yeah, I think it was like halfway through senior year when I got that job through one of our friends in high school. So then, like, obviously my mom, she wasn't too thrilled about it, but she was like, okay, you know, like, you can work, but there has to be, like, restrictions. You can't work past a certain time because you have school in the mornings. You can't work every day, obviously. And I was like, well, no, like, it's part-time. So even if I wanted to, like, I'd have to ask permission or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it never really got to that point where my mom would, like, get mad at me for working or whatever because she saw that I was responsible enough to, like, if I go home, because I think when I worked at Pete's, we closed at, I think 9. So I'd be home, at 9. So I'd be home by like 10, right? Which is still not too late. But she also saw that I was responsible enough to wake myself up at the time I needed to be up to get to school.
Yeah.
So I think that's why she never really like made a big fuss about it.
Yeah.
Except for towards the end of school is when I would start missing school to go to work. And that's when she started complaining. She was like, hey, like, why are you missing school? Why are you going to go to work? Like, you know, this and that. And I'd be like, Mom, like I'm good with my credits. I have straight A's. I have like all the good things that you could have in high school, right? And I was just like, plus I'm gonna make money, you know, like I don't know what the big deal is. And she was like, oh, well, your absences, this and that. And I'm like, Mom, like I already don't have perfect attendance, so like why does it matter, you know? Like the days it's not like I'm missing every single day. Like I've only missed in that month time frame. I've missed 2 days of school, you know.
Yeah.
So, and at that time I already had my own car, so I was just like, oh, like if anything, like I'll just get to school late, you know? Yeah. And I told her, I was like, I mean, I don't have to ask you guys for gas money no more. So if I go to work, I can make extra money. I don't have to ask you guys for gas money anymore. So
after Pete's, what was your second job?
So I quit Pete's so that I could work at a body shop because that's when I got the Silverado, the 2001. And I wanted to fix it up, you know, because it was when we were all young and we're like, oh, like we want to have nice trucks and clean trucks, whatever. But I wasn't making that much money. So I went to the body shop where one of our friends works, one of our best friends, and I asked the owner, I was like, hey, how much just to body work it and how much to primer? That's it, you know, like I don't want to paint because I know paint jobs were expensive. So then he was like, oh, it's going to be like $2K. And I was like, bro, I'm making $300 a week. How in the hell am I going to get $2K to paint or to work the truck?
Yeah.
So I told the guy, I was like, hey, he was like, you hiring? And he was like, what do you know to do? And I was like, nothing, but I'll learn.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I was like, I'm going to learn this so that I could fix my truck and not spend $2K and then eventually I'll paint it. And, I mean, it kind of worked out, I guess. I wasn't making much money there either, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So.
And then you slowly progressed into a better job, right?
Yeah.
'Cause that's what most people don't understand is they get a job, they get comfortable, and they just stay there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not being moved up and it's not benefiting you financially, I think that's a tell sign to just find something better for yourself. Don't stay in one spot because you're just gonna.
You're gonna stay in one spot.
You're gonna stay in one spot. You're not gonna make any money. You're not gonna progress.
Yeah.
So the rule of thumb is, well, not the rule of thumb, but
our rule of thumb.
What I've heard is work at a job for 2 years, and if you're not getting promoted, then find a better
Leave.
job that's gonna pay you more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the way you did it with yours, right? And then now you're at a job where
I just got promoted at my job.
You probably have had three promotions within the past 5-6 years.
Two.
Yeah.
2 within the past 5. So I worked like about a year and a half when I started there as a lot attendant, and then I got promoted to a photographer, and again it was about a year and a half ish, and then I got promoted again to doing the PDI, and I've been there for a month and a half or so. Yeah. So I've been progressing in that same job, which is
gonna be manager.
Hopefully one day, or something better. Yeah. Like I told my managers when they offered me the job, I was like, you know what, like if I'm sweeping the lot and you guys are paying me more, like I don't care, like as long as I'm making more money, I'll do whatever.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Bro.
Yeah,
like so you can't just get comfortable.
Yeah,
that's the last thing you want to do is get comfortable, and that's with not just with a job, but anything in your life. If you're working out, or if you're in your relationship, or whatever it may be, if you get comfortable, it means that you're in a safe space and you're not going to progress, you're not going to grow.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing you want to do. You want to put yourself in a scary environment so that it forces you to grow, and not only grow financially, but emotionally, spiritually, and in every aspect of your life. So
yeah, because the higher you progress, the more you learn about certain things,
and the higher value of a person you have, or you are.
Yep.
So
what about now? Flip the question on you, bro, because I know you started working very, very young, and your situation is different. Your situation is different from mine, so let them know, because I know obviously, but
yeah, no, well, man, it's been a long time, bro. It's going back and thinking about it. I've been working since, I would say, if I could pinpoint a grade, not an age. The first time I started working, aka doing
manual labor,
doing something in exchange for currency, which for me is work.
Yeah,
I would say I was in like the 2nd or 3rd grade.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, and if I had to say what was I doing in that age? It was my dad had a pallet company, and he still has a pallet company business.
Hence all this stuff behind us.
Hence the pallets in the back. On Saturdays, what we would do is we'd sweep the yard, make sure that the yard is clean and ready for a new week. So on Saturdays, what we would do is he would wake us up. Hey, we're gonna sweep the yard. Okay, cool. So we'd sweep the yard. Keep in mind the yard is, I would say like 4,000 to 5,000 square feet.
Yeah, bro, it's pretty big.
It's a pretty big yard. It's 3 lots. Sweep the yard. Once the yard's done, we would throw all the wood in a big bin.
Scrap wood, right?
The scrap wood, all the trash that we didn't use. We would throw it in a container and toss that, and that's kind of like the end of what we would do on a Saturday.
Yeah.
But that's what we did. And keep in mind, I was like 2nd, 3rd grade. And to most people would be like, oh, that's not good. Why are you having the kids work? I never hated it. I didn't like it, but I knew it was work because I was getting paid.
Yeah.
I was 2nd, 3rd grade getting paid, for that Saturday, I made like $30-$40.
Damn. For 2nd grade, bro, that's fucking good.
And I was working, 5-6 hours
on a
Saturday?
Never mind.
So it was like, like $8, $9. But you think about it, minimum wage was around
That's
that
true.
So I was a 2nd or 3rd grader making a minimum wage. So I was balling, bro. Like Sunday, we'd go to the mall. The best mall in the world, Desert Sky. If you know where that is. That was the spot for my parents, and it still is. Every Sunday they go to Desert Sky.
Yeah.
But it would go in that era. It was like the G-Shock and Snapback era. Man, I had enough money to buy either a real Snapback, a real Mitchell & Ness, or a fake G-Shock from that little Arabic store
from the
in
middle
the
island?
the little middle jewelry stores.
Yeah, the islands.
And I mean, they had some G-Shocks that looked pretty real. So I was like, I'm not gonna spend I knew the value of currency at that age.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not gonna spend $150 for a G-Shock when I can buy a $30 G-Shock that kind of looks the same. It's like second and third graders are gonna realize
they're not gonna be like, oh, your shit's fake, bro. Like, nah.
So I was the kid that technically mommy and daddy bought me everything, but they don't realize, and they never realized that I was working for my stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and as the years grew, you know, I started working at that age. By the time I got to like, I would say 5th or 6th grade, it went from working Saturdays to working Saturdays and my breaks. So fall break became work.
Oh, yeah.
Spring break became became work. Christmas break became work. And summer, bro, summer was like
the worst.
The epitome. No, actually, it was 7th and 8th grade. That's when it all happened. Because
when you started working in the summers?
Yeah, when I started working in the summers.
Yeah.
Because I estaba gordito, you know, I weighed a pretty decent amount. I was chunky. And I would get bullied for being fat.
Yeah.
And when I started working summers, that's when I started slimming down.
Yeah.
Because it was hot, and I was sweating, and I was working outside in the heat all day.
And your metabolism was quick back then.
Yeah.
Too.
So, by the time I hit high school, I had already racked up a decent amount of money because I wasn't spending all my money at that time either.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I was working with my dad this whole time, and then high school hit. I would say I was still a little chunky on the chunkier side freshman, sophomore year, but then I think I was like peaking my metabolism my senior year.
Yeah.
That I like slimmed down hella. Like I was skinny. Like I was fitting into shirts that were like medium and small.
Yep.
Versus fitting into shirts that was like large and extra large.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say my whole like school career, I was working with my dad. But I think when I got into high school, I was like, I don't want to work, dude. Like I hate working. I want to
be a kid.
I want to enjoy like going to my friend's house or enjoying my spring break, my fall break.
Yeah.
And then I started looking into sports. And my dad was that type of Mexican.
That's a story in itself too.
Yeah, my dad was like, no, well, you can't play football because it's too dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm like, they have shoulder pads, they have helmets,
they have protection.
Oh, you don't see the news? How many people die? I'm like,
typical.
People die from car accidents every day. Like
people die when they wake up. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a whole different subject. But long story short, I played baseball, but it was under the condition that I would still work. So that's when I was like, I guess, you know, I was like, I'll make that sacrifice.
Yeah.
So I would go to practice, and I would come home late, and my dad would have the trash that I needed to throw away ready and set up, and I would like
just do your work.
Do my work quick. If it was late at night or if it was dark, I had to do it. And on Saturdays, I still had to do it too.
Yeah.
So that's my story on working at a young age. I started working at such a young age that, looking back, I'm like, I won't ever have my kids do that because I know it sucks.
Yep.
But there was a lot of lessons and there's a lot of value that I took from it.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be the man that I am today if it wasn't for my dad pushing me to work. And I'm grateful because he taught me the value of working hard for what you want. Yeah. You know, and there's a saying that he told me. He's like, and this is one of the first times I realized that Hispanics go through discrimination. And I never realized it until he told me that. He's like, gente como nosotros tenemos que trabajar duro con nuestras manos para progresar en la vida. So, si quieres algo en la vida, tienes que trabajar duro. Yeah. And I never understood that when he said it, but as the time went by,
it made sense.
It makes sense because I'm like, damn, dude, like, you're right. Like, he migrated from Mexico, so he came here when he was 20, 21. And my cousin Jorge was saying, like, the only job you can get was working in the fields. Yep. Working hard, and that was like bare minimum pay, like way below minimum wage. But you had to do it. Yeah. That was the only way you can make money. So for him to be able to be in the position that he is now, to give not only me but all my brothers and my mom work, and we all work together under one like company.
Yeah.
AKA Gutierrez Pallets. If you guys didn't know,
Shout out
to Gutierrez Pallets. But I'm so proud of my dad, and I don't think I've ever told him that, and that's something that I want to tell him.
Yeah.
That I'm proud of him. And I'm getting choked up.
It's all right, bro. It's all right. It's all right.
I'm proud of him, bro. Like, he went through a lot, and I literally went through this story with him not too long ago. He went through so much. He crossed a countless amount of times to give us the opportunity that we have.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of kids nowadays take that for granted because they're not first generation Mexican American.
Yeah.
You know, but that's something I want to tell him, is that I'm proud of him for
bring him on the
everything
podcast, bro, and
I
tell
am.
him that.
It's gonna be the
Most
biggest,
emotional one.
biggest battle of it. He's
Yeah.
never gonna want to be on a podcast. But
Yes.
I'm gonna get him on here one day. Maybe that'll be my 100th episode or something. I don't know.
Nah, we gotta shoot
But,
earlier than that.
But yeah, man. I started working at such a young age, dude, that I don't regret it.
Yeah.
And I don't
Looking back at it
I don't
now.
want him to be regretful for making those choices for us.
Yeah.
Because there's a reason why we're all here todavía.
Mhm.
There's a reason why we're all, chambeando.
There's a reason you have all this, bro.
There's a reason why I have the clothes that I wear, the car that I drive, and the reason why I am where I am at. Like, I still work with him, in the afternoons I help him out. But if it wasn't for the opportunities that he's given me, I wouldn't be able to go to college. I wouldn't be able to go to university.
You also wouldn't be grateful for what you had.
Exactly.
You'd be like, my dad got it for me or whatever.
I'd be, what's that word for those kids? I'd be ungrateful.
Yeah.
I'd be, I don't know, there's a word for it, but yeah, that's, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't realize it. They just see what's on the outside and they don't see the amount of work. Not only me, but my brothers have put in to get to where we're at. It's been a struggle, but I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for every day. It's hard to be grateful on a daily basis, but I feel like once you kind of like give yourself, 5 minutes to sit down and think, it gives you clarity. It gives you that peace. And if you're struggling, like, oh, why am I not here? Why am I not where I want to be? I was literally thinking about this today when I was driving. You need to stop and think about where you are today. What you have today is the things that you were asking for 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You take things for granted. It could be the smallest things ever, but at one point, where you are today is what you wanted back then.
A year ago, something like that.
For me, I literally just washed my Jeep. I have a Jeep SRT, and it takes me forever to wash my fucking car, but I washed it yesterday, and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to pay for this car anymore. But then I remember when I was younger, I'm like, seeing the Jeep, the first gen Jeep SRTs, the Cuadrada ones. I'm like, man, that's a badass truck. I want one.
Yeah.
And now I have the newest version. And I'm like, why am I so ungrateful? And I apologize to God because I feel like I'm very spiritual with my religion. And I'm like, I'm sorry for ever being ungrateful, and thank you. Thank you for giving me this 5-minute opportunity to take a step back, realize, hey, you know what? I need to be grateful for where I am today.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
I feel you, bro.
I
feel you. That's how I am right now too.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be at home or I'll be at work, because I wash my truck at work, so I'll just be like, oh fuck, bro, like I don't want to wash this big ass truck.
Yeah.
But then I start washing it, and I'm like, damn, bro, like I'm paying for this truck.
Yeah.
This big ass brick is mine,
Yeah. This is me.
This is me. Like 2-3 years ago, I was just like, I'm never gonna be able to afford a truck from a dealer, and then now here I am.
Yeah.
And it's been a year since I've had that truck already. And actually, I don't think anybody like on my like other than like close people to me, I don't think anybody knows about that.
Yeah.
So there's that, but yeah, bro. I stopped too, and I just sometimes I'm driving, I'm like, damn, bro, like I'm really just driving something I bought, like my first big boy purchase,
Yeah.
So
I was talking to Nadia yesterday. No, went to a dark sport event on Friday.
Yeah.
I was talking to her on Friday, and I was telling her like, we were just talking about like deep conversation and saying about goals and stuff and people that are around us and why they're around us still.
Yeah.
Why do we still have them around? And I was telling her, I was like, I feel like I don't really have much people around me, but the people that are around me is because they still have value in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that people that aren't in my life don't give me value.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that those that are around me have significant value.
Yeah, they give you a greater amount.
And that being said, me and you have had multiple conversations, and I'm like, I know when you're getting comfortable, Mundo, and I push you without pushing you, but I ask you questions.
Subconsciously.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I ask you questions, and I don't know if you notice.
I have.
But I tell you, hey, do you plan on doing this? Do you plan on, getting a raise? Do you plan on going to a different job?
Mm-hmm.
The last time we talked about was I asked you, I was like, if you can choose one career to do, like, and it was something you wanted to do, what was it? And you said welding.
Yeah.
And it's those kind of conversations that I feel like add value to a friendship, as well as just in general, like life.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not gonna have people around you that aren't pushing you, motivating you to do better, why are they around?
Yeah.
So that being said, I want to ask you a question. What goals do you have within the next, within this year coming towards 2025, the next year?
So I think my short-term goal I think not financially stable yet, but obviously have a lot more money than I did at the beginning of the year, because I only made so much money when I was a photographer.
Yeah.
So like at the end of the year, I want to be like, oh, like I have X amount of money more than I did last year, like obviously everybody's goal at the end of the day is to make as much money as they can. So hopefully with this new job, I can make a lot more. So like that's my short-term goal,
Yeah.
Make more money, have a little bit more financial freedom, because obviously I have more bills, more expensive bills too,
Yeah.
because just my truck alone, like just that motherfucker alone is like, fuck, bro, like
Yeah.
here comes the 9th, here comes another $700 just for the truck, plus insurance, plus gas, plus all that BS, I think that, and also I think just be happier, bro.
Yeah.
Like I've told you earlier too that like I was talking to my brother earlier about the significance of one of the dark sport drops.
Yeah.
And he's noticed it too, where like I don't get as mad as I used to. Like I used to, like somebody could tell me like something dumb, like, oh, like I don't know, something dumb, like, oh, your shoes don't match your outfit or some shit like that, right? Un ejemplo.
Yeah.
And I'd get just
You blow up.
Yeah, I'd turn on a switch, and now thinking back to, I don't know, probably like a year and a half ago, sorts around there, I started to like check myself.
Yeah.
I'd be like, bro, like, ¿para qué te enojas? Like, ¿qué ganas tú con enojarte versus you like stopping and breathing and being like, bro, like it's not worth it to get mad,
No.
So like it's come down to the point where now like I've had conversations with my mom. Por ejemplo, like me and mama used to butt heads all the time, macizo, like about the dumbest shit ever. And now it's gotten to the point where I kind of like la estoy aconsejando,
Yeah.
Like there's a situation going on between her and her dad, And when my mom was telling me about it, like I'd tell mom, like, Mom, like you're talking to me, you're not talking to him, like let's have a civilized conversation. And I was like, at the end of the day, Mom, like, ¿qué ganas tú con enojarte por algo que este señor va a hacer at the end of the day, regardless of if you want him to or not,
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, if you think about it, all you're gonna win is you being mad. It's gonna affect your health, it's gonna affect your sleep, it's gonna affect everything. And is it gonna bother him? No. I was like, so ¿qué ganas, I like, just relax, let it be what it is. And at the end of the day, if he realizes on his own that he fucked up or whatever, then you just tell him, like, I told you. Yeah. Like what's the point of, for example, not talking to him if it got to that point, like not talking to him, being in a feud with your own family, especially like your own dad, like who wants that? So I think that's another short-term goal, is like just be happier, because I put myself down a lot, bro. Like if because when I was younger, like I was demanded pretty much perfection. Like, oh, if I didn't come home with straight A's, you weren't good, know? So
traumas.
Exactly.
You got traumas.
Exactly. So now it's just like, oh, okay, like I fucked up, but it's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
It's just I've gotten to the point where I realize that it's like it's not worth getting mad over the little things.
Yes.
It's not worth getting mad. Period. Point blank. You know, like obviously we're human. We're gonna get mad at
Mhm.
at certain shit or whatever.
Yes. It's just instinct.
It's instinct, exactly. So now it's just like know when to have those moments.
I just feel like the less time you give to that bad energy,
Mhm.
the more free time you have to enjoy
Yeah.
your life.
Exactly.
You know, I feel like that's something that I feel like not just Mexicans but Latinos
Mhm.
have a lot of spice to them,
Yep.
especially Latinas. But I just feel like we're quick to react.
Yeah.
You know, we have that instinct, como dices, to react to whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing. We have that snap. I feel like learning how to
Control it.
control that instinct of an initial snap
Mhm.
and just kind of assess the situation gives you control of where you're gonna go.
Yeah.
The trajectory.
Trajectory. Yeah.
Sorry, my
No,
English is
you're
a
good,
little
bro. You're good.
The trajectory of where your energy is gonna go towards is dependent on that initial snap.
Yeah.
So if something bad happens and you immediately go towards anger, now you're gonna have a fucked up day.
Yep. And the people around you notice it too.
Yes. So versus if you have a bad day or if something bad happens, it's okay. It's human to be upset. It's human to
Make mistakes.
not be happy. But I feel like if you can learn how to like reset your brain and instead of ruining the rest of your day for one little thing and kind of reassess the situation and just be like, you know what? This happened. I don't like it, but it's not going to affect the rest of my day because my days are valuable.
Yeah.
Because we're not promised another day.
Yeah.
You know, going to the worst category ever, you can have a heart attack at night when you're sleeping and not wake up. So this isn't me saying you're not going to have bad days. You can have bad days.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that you can't just take a step back in that quick moment and just be like, you know what? Let me take 5 minutes, let me breathe, and let's continue with the day.
Yeah.
Let's make it a good day. So,
Yeah. So real quick, just to finish off his question, and to finish off what I was talking about, why are you gonna let 2 minutes of a bad moment ruin a full 24 hours of your life of a day? You know, like it doesn't make sense. So with that being said, long-term goals, bro. Eventually, my long-term goal is to be financially stable. Obviously, have a house, have my cars paid off, all that stuff, and also a goal. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it to you, but I want to have my future wife not work, bro. Like, cause I've seen how hard my mom works too, and I'm just like, fuck, like I don't want that for my wife, you know, like, because I grew up around my grandma. That was pretty much my mom too, you know, because my mom worked so much to try and
support you guys.
Support, exactly. So it's just like I think about it now, and I'm just like, like I don't want my kids to not necessarily grow up with their grandma too, you know, like I'm all for it. Like I want them to see their grandma too and everything, but I want them to also spend time with their mom, you know, like the person that gave birth to them, the person that took care of them, all that. And I also just don't want my wife to work that hard because, in my opinion, I feel like girls go through a lot as is, you know, like minus the work field, minus life in general. Like just being a female alone is hard. So that's also a long-term goal.
And
so.
I'm glad. I'm honestly glad you're saying this because it lets me know that you are aware.
Yeah.
Because I have a fiance, right? We've been together for 9 years, and they do go through a lot, dude.
Yep.
Women go through more than men. You know,
way more than men.
You know, we are in a men-driven world still, and as much as men don't like to see it, we are in a male-dominant world where women don't get the credit, women don't get the raise, don't get the promotion, don't get certain opportunities because they're women.
Just because they're women.
Because there's people out there that still live in that mindset of women are supposed to wash dishes and clean the clothes and take care of the kids.
Yeah.
I love that about you, that you want your woman or your future wife to not have to work. That's beautiful.
If they want to work, they can.
Okay, see, that's the song going.
Yeah. If they want to work, they can. I'm not
So,
saying no, you can't fucking work. Like stay here. Like if they want to work, that's fine. But just not work as hard.
As
my mom had to. You know.
And that's where that's where I was going.
Okay.
Because you know Nadia.
Yep.
Like, man, dude, if I had to say the hardest working woman I've ever met in my life is my mom, because I've known her my whole life.
Yep.
But a close second place has to be Nadia, dude.
Yeah.
She works 24/7.
Yep.
Dude. Not only here, but we go to Mexico,
she's
every year
there.
2 to 3 weeks. Every day she's dedicating at least an hour or two on the computer.
And I've witnessed it, bro. When I went with you guys, like she had calls.
I hate it sometimes because I'm like, babe, just enjoy yourself. We're on vacation. Like, this is for us. But I hate it, but I love how determined she is for her people, because she's not working for a paycheck. She's working to make a difference. Others, to make a difference. Because her line of work is, revolved around the Latina community with con la suegra, with her mom. But I'm just so proud of her, and it's something that I kind of tell her, I tell her every once in a while, but I feel like she doesn't believe it because she doesn't want to believe it because she just has so much, like, her like goals are so high.
Yeah, I feel like she still feels like she's down here instead of up here when she's almost there.
No, but she's like past. So like
probably.
Today we were helping her out, set up for a pop-up.
Yeah.
Like she's buying equipment and stuff to just make the experience better for everybody. But going back to that discussion you were saying, like, I get it, you don't want your woman to work, and eventually I want to get to a point where Nadia doesn't have to work that much either.
Keyword is doesn't have to.
Doesn't have to, yeah.
But if she wants to,
no, I know that she's gonna still do what she has to do.
Yeah.
Like, she's so involved with the community, the Latino community, the women community.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. It's huge. And me being around that, like, makes me appreciate women. I mean, not that I didn't appreciate women. Let's go. Don't come at me. But it makes me appreciate them way, way more because, man, dude, they're hardworking too, dude. Like, it's not just that men, men work with their hands. Yes. There's women that work with their hands too, but like, they have to work extra harder because they have to work extra harder to get recognition,
to get that
when
respect.
At the end of the day, they don't have to work for recognition. They have to work for themselves, but they don't get recognized. So this is me giving them their flowers. Like, women are badass. So that's
part of that plane that's flying over us.
We have an airport right next to us. But no, that's cool, bro. Like, I appreciate you telling me this because I mean, I didn't know. I didn't know that those were your aspirations, and I know that you can get there, bro. And I've always told you, like, I see so much more in your life than what you have right now. And I know you'll get there.
Con el favor de Dios.
Yeah, con el favor de Dios. I'm wearing that shirt right now.
Plug.
But no, I have high hopes for you. Not only you, but everybody in my little circle. I just want nothing but the best for you guys. And those of you guys watching, I hope that you guys can get some value on these conversations, because at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of us have a voice to be heard, but we don't have a platform. And that's why I want to create this platform for people like you, people like Jorge, Juan Carlos, my brother, me, everybody that I get on this podcast. I want people to get some benefit from. So that's where we're at. Dolor por Amor Podcast.
Dolor por Amor.
Yes, sir. So I just want to say thank you, bro.
Oh, thank you for having me, bro.
I appreciate you.
Honestly, bro, this was a surprise. I didn't think I was going to be a guest on here.
No,
I thought you were
ever?
gonna not never, but not this early.
No.
I thought you were gonna be like, oh, like we're 5 podcasts in, like, come on.
No, bro. If I had the opportunity to record every single day and be able to edit and do everything in one day, I'd record every day.
Really?
Because I'm nervous, but I really love doing this. Like, I don't like. I'm not doing this for a spotlight. I'm not doing this for fame. I'm not doing this for money. I do this because I genuinely love these conversations. I love talking about the future. I love talking about growth. I love talking about how we can better each other. And we've had conversations like this.
Yeah.
In
Here,
in
yeah, I
this
just
gym
want to say
with these BMCs.
Yeah.
But no, I just feel like it's so empowering, bro. Like talking about how we can better each other.
Yeah.
You know, and not only talking about the future, but talking about traumas, talking about past things that most people don't realize that other people go through. We go through.
Yeah.
You know, we're here. We see you. We understand. And if you relate to this, you know, drop a comment.
Yeah.
Leave a like.
One more crazy thing, bro. Now that you like, I don't know why I just thought of this, but
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't realize that we're progressing as much as we are. Like we're better. Like going back to what you said, like oh maybe like 6 months ago we weren't where we wanted to be now. You know,
But we are.
Like we don't realize that. But then, for example, I had some cousins come from Utah, bro.
Yeah.
And I hung out with them, right? And they were like, "Oh, what's new, Mundo?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I got this truck. I got a new job, blah, blah." You know, like I was telling them what it was.
Yeah. Like it was nothing.
Yeah, like if it was nothing, I was like, it's whatever, you know. But then they flipped it on me and they were just like, "Bro, like we're so fucking proud of you because when we saw you like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was, they were like, you weren't doing this. You weren't doing this. Like you had a little crappy ass car. Like speaking of Sonic." I mean, it was a decent car.
It was a good car until
it started fucking up. And like when they told me that shit, I was just like,
"You're right."
I was like, "Damn, bro! Like I didn't think about it that way."
Yes.
And then I flipped it on them because I also asked them like, "Oh, what are you guys up to?" And they told me, and I was just like, "Holy fuck, bro! Like 2 years ago, they have a dance studio."
Oh wow.
Yeah, and
in Utah.
Yeah, in Utah.
Nice.
Shout out to them. But they were telling me, I was like, "Damn, bro! Like since they told me that, like now I'm realizing it. Like damn, like 2 years ago, my cousin, she was dancing in her fucking basement."
Yeah.
And now she has a studio with her brother.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, like a full fucking blown studio.
Yep.
And I was just like, damn, bro, like you don't realize that you've progressed as much as you have until someone points it out.
Yep.
Because we're so hard on ourselves.
Yes. And we don't realize how fast time goes.
Yeah.
Because like me and Jorge were literally just talking about this last week. We're about to hit fucking Halloween, dude.
I know.
Christmas is in 2 months.
Yep.
I feel like I remember last year I was like struggling to get Christmas presents, bro, because you know I all these bills were piled up. I just got my career started with the school.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting paid, and it was a struggle. But I remember asking God, I'm like, God, I'm not gonna be able to buy presents for my family, but let me get something for them. And it's crazy how fast God works. Sometimes He works fast. Sometimes He plants the seed and lets it grow.
Yeah.
But
He gives you the opportunity to grow.
It's like night and day. The next day, like somebody hits me up. Hey, I need.
Oh, you know what? I remember that story here, bro.
Like, hey, I need my hood wrapped. How much? You still wrap? I'm like, I don't do vinyl wraps, not wrap like hip hop.
Yeah.
But vinyl wraps for cars. I'm like, well, I don't really do it as a job anymore. But if you want me to do it, like,
I could do it.
What kind of car? And he's like, oh, well, he sent me pictures. I'm like, yeah, $250. Is that what the vinyl included? I'm like, yep. And then warranty. All right, bet. And then it ended up being from do the hood to I want the hood, roof wrapped, and then I have another car where I need a color match for the bumpers.
Yeah.
And that alone was like $1,000.
Yeah.
With that, I bought Christmas presents. And it's crazy, dude. And I know my cousin Jorge has a similar story, which he'll probably talk about in a future podcast. But my family goes to Mexico every year. And it's like my tío was like, he was a big gambler, right? So they were like, hey, are we going to go to Mexico with my tío Agustin, which is my dad, my cousin's asking his dad. He's like, no, pues no hay dinero. And they're like, oh, all upset. And we were going to Mexico. So then my tío, rest in peace, mi tío Samuel, you never met him, but
yeah, I just know of him.
Baja Los Caballos to, what's it called up there by Thunderbird and 19th Avenue? It's a famous racetrack. Paradise.
Oh yeah.
Paradise.
Turf
Paradise.
Turf Paradise.
So all my tacuaches.
Right? It is Turf Paradise, right?
It is Turf Paradise.
Okay.
So for those of you guys who know Turf Paradise, I know a lot of friends that have horses that they race their horses. Va Los Caballos puts his check, whatever he made that week.
He made the whole check?
Puts it on a horse.
Uh-huh.
Odds are very, very slim on that horse.
Underdog.
Uh-huh. Thing comes out like $5,000-$6,000, $7,000 maybe. I don't know, enough to cover a full trip.
Month trip. Yeah.
No, pues the Turf Paradise va hasta Luke Air Force Base. That's where they lived. Arreglen las paletas porque vamos para México. A la madre, güey. So as I'm saying, like, if you're not religious, it's fine. You know, I respect your values. I respect who you believe in, what you believe in. If you don't believe in anything, I understand. You are human. You do what you want to do. But I tend to believe in a higher power, God, and ask and you shall receive. You won't receive when you want it.
Yeah.
When you need it the most is when you will receive it.
Yep.
And in that situation, I know for sure my Tío Samuel was like, hey, I really want to take my family to Mexico with my brother. And I know gambling's not the right way to do it.
But just this once.
Please. So, you know, it's a weird way to say it, but, you know, just if you don't believe in anything, you whatever you may believe in, if you don't believe in it, talk to yourself. Whatever you got to do. Manifest. Ask. And whenever you need it the most is when you're going to get it. You know?
Yeah.
So, I feel like we tried cutting it off earlier, but we kept
I know.
That's how you know these are good, bro. Like, I love it, bro. I love it. It's a good conversation, bro.
Yeah.
And I love you, bro. You're like one of my brothers.
I love you too, dog.
I appreciate you for being on this podcast.
Well, thank you for having me, bro. I appreciate that.
The second one going out. I got a lot of people coming in. Doesn't mean that I won't have you guys come back. You know, this is just
there'll be a part 2 to this.
This is just tip of the iceberg. There's just so much to give. I really don't want to make them too long, but eventually they might get there. But yeah, I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you for having me, bro.
Here's to more.
Here's
cheers.
to more.
Last
Well,
cheers.
Ya no tengo, but
Canelo Alvarez, please sponsor us.
Sponsor us, VMC.
Viva Mexico, cabrones. But yeah, cheers.
I would take a sip, but I'm dry.
All right, guys. So this is Dolor por Amor podcast, where we talk about, values, traumas, future goals, whatever it may be. Sometimes we're just gonna have fun. We're gonna, go with it.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for, tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment. I'm gonna do my best to, kind of respond. But like, subscribe, comment. Dolor X Amor Podcast on Instagram. TikTok, we are Dolor por Amor Podcast. We are on Apple Music, or not Apple Music. We are on Apple Podcast officially.
Oh, yeah.
We are on Spotify
officially.
Dolor por Amor Podcast, aka Dolor X Amor Podcast. Officially, we are on both platforms.
Yes, sir.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Dolor por Amor.
Nice.
So, again, till next time, guys, I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
And remember, así pasa cuando sucede.